Hi everyone, it's Kate from the Fold Line. I am back this week with the Sew Down. This is our monthly roundup of stuff that we've seen in and around the world of sewing that we think you guys will find interesting. I've got some really nice things to talk to you about, and I think, yeah, I will get going. First and foremost, I'm sorry if you can hear my next door neighbours are having a Frozen sing-along, and the twins, who are about 4, are singing Let It Go on repeat, so I'm sorry if you can hear them. Let's just say they haven't been blessed with great voices, so it's quite dulcet, the tones of Frozen, so if you can hear that in the background, I'm sorry, but they are having a lovely time. First up, I've got a couple of pattern companies which you may not have heard of. The first one is called French Navy. They are based in South Africa, and I think at the moment this is sort of a side hustle but hoping to become kind of a full-time job. She's got 8 patterns. A couple of them, I think 2 or 3 of them are free patterns as well. She's got some really nice free patterns. She just does really fantastic wearable basics, I would say. If you are making stuff and you're definitely more in the casual department of your handmade wardrobe, I definitely think she's worth checking out. She's got a couple of pairs of trousers, a really nice, actually, I know it sounds, but a really nice shaped t-shirt. Everyone needs the perfect t-shirt, and a lovely sort of summer dress. So she's definitely one to keep a lookout for, and I thought, yeah, you guys, if you haven't discovered her yet, she's definitely worth having a look at. She did a free pattern last summer, I think, that lots of people made, but I thought it was worth mentioning. The other company is called Fieldwork Patterns. They're relatively new. The person who owns it worked in London in the fashion industry for quite a long time, has then relocated to the Isle of Wight, and she was sort of inspired by making clothes for her daughter. So I think that so the size range on these are quite small, so it's a UK size 6 to 16, but I think that's basically because her core market is teen patterns, which there is a massive gap in the market for. There aren't that many teen patterns, and that's why there's a smaller size range. The top has also got bust cut options, which is really fantastic and really important to that age where you're, your early teens, because your body is changing in shape. But I thought these were really great, and they're definitely, if you've got children or kids coming into teenage, she's definitely worth having a follow or keeping a lookout for, because I think she's going to do some really good stuff. So next up, Christina, who works for us, alerted me to this new sewing, well, I don't know if they're new actually, fabric company, and I thought I would share because they've got some really lovely stuff. For those of you who like Merchant & Mills, this is definitely in that vibe. It's called With This Cloth. I will say everything that I talk about, there'll be links down below. She has also worked within the sort of textiles and fashion industry, and she has set this up. Really beautiful linens. Everything that she gets, she sources, so it's stuff that actually you won't find anywhere else. She also goes to all of the mills and meets the kind of people who weave the fabric. There's quite a small range, but it changes really regularly, so if you like Merchant & Mills sort of vibe, this is definitely one to go and check out. Really beautiful quality, at the higher end price wise, but it looks, and the photography is really good, so you can actually, that's the thing, I know you all feel the same, it's hard to understand what the fabric's going to feel like when you're looking at a picture of it, but they're really nicely photographed. So yeah, if you're looking for a bit more linen in your life, this is definitely a place to go and have a look. So interesting stuff that I've read, so there's an article in The Guardian about craftivism through ages. So it's political and sort of political messaging through craft. It's really great. There's obviously stuff from like the suffragettes, like really old bags that were made in the sort of 1800s with sort of wording on them. It's a really lovely article. It's definitely worth going and having a look. There's some really beautiful things in there, especially as we're all into stitching. I think it's definitely something you should go and have a read of. Next up on the reading front, what's kind of reading and watching, there's a really lovely article on the V&A about Balenciaga and the beading of his like basically his embroidery designer, and how he designs all of his how he designs his embroidery, and it's showing his couture house. It's a really lovely little video. I think it's not that long, it's about a few minutes, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, but it was really enjoyable to watch, and I don't know about you, but I always love seeing behind the scenes in couture houses. It's something that I find fascinating. Next thing is kind of a read and a watch thing. So I was perusing Whistle's sale, and I had to look at their blog, and there's a really great article called 6 must-see documentaries about inspiring women, and I'll pop a link to it because there are definitely a few of these documentaries that I haven't seen before. There's the Amy Winehouse one, which I've seen. There's the Lady Gaga one, which I've also seen, but there's a couple of others which I've not. The Michelle Obama one, Becoming, I haven't seen that one. What Happened to Miss Simone. It's just a really nice, if you're looking for something, I know that we're all at home a lot at the moment, and finding interesting stuff to watch all the time in the evenings. I don't know about you, but it's starting to dry up the options of things to watch. So this would be a really nice kind of, you could do one each day over a week, and I think it'd be really, great to watch. So that is definitely worth going and having a read. TV, I've only got one thing that I'm watching at the moment, or finished watching, and it's quite trashy, but if anyone else, actually it's not trashy, it's sort of trashy. I loved it. So anyone who has watched Queer Eye on Netflix and really enjoyed that, you're going to love this. It's called Say I Do, or did I say Netflix? On Netflix. It's a series about surprise weddings, and there's 3 guys who make it all happen for them. But it's produced really well because it's done via Netflix. It's shot really beautifully. The stories are really sweet, and the 3 guys that do it are so sweet. And you kind of learn more about them as the series go on, and their personal journeys, and all the people that they pick obviously usually have had like a tough time. It's just quite feel good. If you're feeling like you need something to jolly you up, this is definitely it. I've definitely wept a couple of times watching it, so yes, I really have enjoyed that. A little bit trashy, but kind of feel good as well. Books, I've got one book that I have about halfway through, and I'm really enjoying it, and I think you guys will too. It's called Olive, written by Emma Gannon, who's written a few books. Sorry, that is my dog barking. You might hear a bit more of that. So it's written by Emma Gannon, and it's about 4 women who are in their early 30s, and the choices that they make. They all pick different life journeys. Some of them are having children, some of them are trying to have children. I think if you're in your early 30s, this book is very relevant, because I definitely remember going through a patch where some people were single, some people were married, some people were having babies, and it does feel like that point in your life where people pivot off into different directions. And it's really well written, so I am really enjoying that, and it's quite addictive as well, so I need something that kind of grabs me. So podcasts, I've got 4 podcasts to talk to you about. I've got some really great ones actually. I'm quite excited to share them. So the first one I've got is the Michelle Obama podcast. This is only available on Spotify. I would love to know how much Spotify paid to have Michelle Obama on there exclusively. It must be extortionate. Obviously everything she does is absolutely wonderful, but I've listened to there's 2 of them. I've listened to both of them. First one, she interviews Obama, her husband, and the second one, she's talking about the protests during the pandemic with Michelle Norris, which was really, really fantastic. Each week she's going to kind of take a deep dive in with interesting people. She's using people quite in kind of close network, family and close friends. I think that really works from what I've heard so far, because you get there's a familiarity already, there's no awkwardness, and she's a really good interviewer and it's really well done, of course, as you would expect. But yeah, if you haven't tucked into that yet, definitely go and have a listen because it's really, really great. Next up, for those of us who like the murder podcasts, I've got a sort of, I think you'll enjoy this, from the people who make Case File, which if you haven't listened to any of those true crime ones, that's a really good one to go and listen to. It's called What's Missing, and it is about people who completely vanish, but the interesting kind of slant to it is that they interview family and friends to talk about what it is like to have someone in your close network go missing. It's really interesting, and it's something I think I'm a bit odd. It kind of really fascinates me, people who disappear and don't get found and what happens to them. So there are 2 episodes so far, but this is, if you like true crime, then I definitely think you'll really enjoy this one. Next up, we have got, this is a really fantastic podcast, and if you haven't discovered it yet, this is definitely worth following if you like sort of fashion, and well, most of us are quite interested in that sort of thing. So I discovered it because my old boss, Stephen Jones, who I used to work for, who is a milliner, hat maker, he is interviewed on this podcast, and then I discovered the podcast and have binged them. So it's the Museum at FIT Fashion Culture Podcast, and each time they interview a different person, and it is really nicely done. Each of them are really interesting. It's not just fashion, it's kind of well, I suppose it is, yeah, it's more fashion based than I was thinking. Was it arts as well? But no, it has, now looking back at this, it's very fashion based. So Stephen Jones in conversation, then you've got Frida Kahlo, Fashion as the Art of Being, which was really, really interesting. This one, the one that I really also loved, was the Straight Curve film discussion, so a documentary looking at the body image crisis, and they talk about it. It's really, really fantastic. So if you're looking for something really kind of good to get stuck into, they're about 40 minutes long, so they're not too much of a commitment, but yeah, really, really good. Last but not least, the other podcast I'm listening to is Doing It Right with Pandora Sykes. I'm sure many of you listen to the High Low. She is the co-host on that, and she's she's released a book quite recently, and a lot of people who release a book seem to do a podcast to go alongside it. But she interviews really interesting writers and historians about kind of she said the trivialities and myths and anxieties of modern life. So each week there's kind of a topic, and she deep dives into that with someone. They are really good. She's a really good interviewer, and yeah, I'm really enjoying those, and they're also about half an hour long, so they're definitely worth tucking into if you feel like that. I hope that was good, and I filled you up with some good stuff to get on with for the next kind of few weeks. Definitely go and watch The Say I Do on Netflix. I think that's been my favourite of the last month. And I'm definitely going to go and watch the remainder of those documentaries about inspiring women. I think that would also be really good for us all to watch this month, because everyone needs at the moment a bit of inspiration. Right, I will be back soon with another video. Have the most fab weekend. I'm sure anyone in the UK, we've got a bit of a heat wave, so enjoy being out in the sunshine. Alright, bye!